Hi, this is Steph. I wanted to put this out yesterday actually, but I just wasn't. I don't know. I was having a down day, and I was just tired and headachy and missing Mike, and just just one of those days. But um, it's like it's just a few minutes before 7. I've been up since 3 because I fell asleep like I don't even think it was 7:30. I couldn't. These two pups of mine, they just got me in the habit of being up. Well, it used to be about between like 6:20, 6:30, and they just progressively were whining to go out earlier and earlier. So now it's like 5 in the afternoon rolls around, and I'm ready for bed. But I know if I go to bed at 5, I'll be up at midnight, and so I struggle to stay awake till like 7, 7:30. But anyway, um, so the other day, I was just I don't have that much to do. I mean, housework, but in the winter, I don't have outdoor stuff to do, and it drives me nuts just sitting here. And I was so sick of videos. I was so sick of seeing Trump's face and all these political things, and um or stuff about these drones. And I was just like, oh, just let me watch something that I can just get my mind off all this garbage. And a video popped up about the blizzard of 1978. Now this was in Ohio, but I do remember a blizzard. I don't. I was like a teenager. I don't remember if it was 78 because I lived in Eastern PA at the time, not Central where I am now. But it might have been the same storm. I have no idea. But anyway, I'm watching the video towards the end of it. You can find it on YouTube if you just type in Blizzard of 78. There's a couple. The one I watched was just I think just under an hour, and it was basically like them interviewing different people and some experiences they had. But what struck me is at the end of it, how many of them said, we just weren't ready for anything like this. And like, this is not a preparedness channel, or I don't really have a theme to my channel. It's just kind of whatever. But uh, there's my handsome boy. You hardly ever get to see him because I always kick him off the couch because if I lay down, then he gets all, he starts baring his teeth and he gets all mad at me and everything. But anyway, um, so uh, we all live in an area where, you know, some people get tornadoes, hurricanes, high winds, snowstorms, blizzards, excessive heat. I mean, everybody has something, that they might have to go through at some point. And I get worried here because sometimes at night we get these horrendous winds that kick up. And when we moved in here, we had 3 beautiful, big, mature maple trees, and the one we had to take down about 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3. And probably by spring, my tree out front and out back are probably going to have to come down because they're all full of that like green, mildewy mold, whatever fungus, I guess. And they're not looking too good. But and it's a shame because it gives a lot of shade to this house in the summer. But when those winds kick up, I get worried and I think, oh my God, if one of those trees comes down, or even one of the huge branches, and it's just going to come right into my house, right into my living room or my kitchen or both, depending. And so, Mike and I had talked a lot about all these different things. And like I said, this is not a preparedness channel, and I don't like to patronize people. I mean, I think, uh, most of you who watch are adults, and it's just that there's things, you know, it's just our nature to think that, like, if nothing bad's ever happened, like life's just going to go on, as it always has, and we're not going to have to, uh, deal, God forbid, with a house fire, or flooding, or having a tree end up in your living room, things like that. But um, like I said, it just struck me at the end how so many people that went through that blizzard, and I mean, it was horrendous. I mean, where I was, and again, like I said, I don't know if this was the same blizzard, but I remember opening our garage door, and the snow was like up almost to my chest. I mean, I remember it was really high, and I couldn't even get out of the garage. I had to like shovel the top off and work my way down just so I could make like a little hole so I could step onto the driveway. And then, of course, I had to shovel the rest, and it wasn't a small driveway. But anyway, uh, so um, it was interesting because and again, these are things a lot of people don't, you know, kind of really think about that could possibly happen. But there was a woman who went into labor, and uh, they had no way to uh, get her out to a hospital. And there was a baby. They didn't give any details. They just said there was a baby that needed to get to a hospital, and the only way they could do it was to get a chopper up in the air. But they had to like thaw out the engine on the chopper and maybe the fuel. I don't know what type of fuel helicopters use, and I'm not aware that it freezes. But there was there was a couple of things that they were saying they were trying to get all this stuff thought out. And in the meantime, doctor of this baby is calling, going, you only have this many hours. If you don't get that chopper here, and the clock was ticking down. Eventually, they got the chopper up in the air, but like the wind was blowing the snow so bad. I mean, I can't even believe you could put a chopper in that kind of wind. Um, but somehow or another, they managed to get the baby and get the baby to the hospital. Then there was another woman who was in labor, and they got her doctor, on a snowmobile, along with somebody else went out and got the doctor's nurse, and they went to the house, and they had to deliver the baby at the house, and there were no complications or anything. But you know, these are things that, even I really hadn't given it much thought. And I'm like, yeah, in a storm like that, like nobody could get through these roadways, um, because I guess the wind was blowing so badly that like some areas the road was actually clean from the wind, and in other areas there were like 15-foot tall snow drifts, and the whiteout conditions. And there were so many people that had abandoned their cars because they just couldn't, they got stuck, they couldn't move them. So it was an absolute mess. But um this is one of the reasons I put up a video about like some basic bleeding control, and some basic things about splinting. And I also put up there are actually two videos because it got very, very long when I was recording, and Mike walked in and started talking to me about something, so I had to stop it, and then I had to go in and like start a whole new video on like how to improvise first aid stuff. Because depending, like I said, we all have something. I mean, where I live, we do get tornadoes, but they're usually little, because I'm in the mountains. I don't even know how we get tornado, but um they're usually just little ones, and they'll touch down. They don't really do any tremendous damage, but we seem to be having sinkholes popping up now. I've seen the second one now, huge in Pennsylvania. I mean, we had them where I grew up. In fact, I fell in one. It was like off the side of this creek, and I didn't know how to swim yet. And I fell in this thing, and thankfully there was like a shelf, and I landed on that shelf, and I'm like screaming, "Get me out of here!" Because I was afraid I was going to get sucked into the bottomless pit. Anyway, a couple kids pulled me out, but I don't like those things. But it seems like we're very prone to them here in my state. So like if I'm recording and all of a sudden I just disappear, it's probably got sucked into a big sinkhole. But anyway, um, little humor there, but it could happen. But anyway, so you just need to sort of like think specific to your area. Like what do you normally deal with? Like what I deal with here is we don't really get excessive heat. We get like 90s and it gets humid, but it's not. it's not unsurvivable. But that storm, that blizzard that hit Ohio, it's conceivable that that could hit where I live. I mean, we have had some blizzards. Um, and like I say, we do get those really high winds. Uh, but the one first thing I wanted to say is these little guys, these little flashlights. Like I keep one right here where I sit most of the time, and these are nice because like if you think the power might go out, you can. I don't ever have pockets, but you could even put it on a if it has a little one of those loopy things like on your key ring. You could even hang it around your neck and just keep it on you just in case your power does go out. Because I remember when I was a kid, um, we apparently weren't prepared for anything. Because I remember my father was having a party for all the big wigs at I don't want to name the company, but he was the corporate medical director, and he had all his big wig friends over one night because our basement was finished off, and he had a bar down there and all this stuff. And the power went out, and I guess we didn't even have a candle, or nobody knew where there was a flashlight, and our house was just absolutely pitch black, and there were no street lights or anything. So I remember that everyone going up, finding their way to the basement steps, and I made my way up to the kitchen, and I remember I was backed into the corner because all I saw was the glow. This guy was smoking a big fat cigar, and all I saw was the glow of the cigar, and it was coming at me, and I'm trying to back into the corner because I was afraid he was going to run right into me and burn me. But he got past me and everything. But it just goes to show that it just sometimes you don't think about this stuff, and I don't remember. I know it was wintertime, but I don't know if it was snowing or windy or I don't recall. I mean, I was just a little kid. I was, like 10 maybe. But keep one of these handy because that way when the power does go out, even if you do have candles and other flashlights or, whatever, at least you can turn one of these on so you can find your other flashlights and candles and things. So there's nothing worse, at least where I live. It's dark here at night. I mean, I have outside lights, but there's no street lights or anything, so it's dark, dark. I mean, like you can't see your hand in front of your face, dark where I'm at. So that was the first thing, and know where your other candles, flashlights, batteries, and like check these once in a while. And this one's funky. Sometimes you have to shake it, sometimes you don't, but just check the batteries periodically. But like I said, these are great for just having on your person, in your pocket, or just handy. So at least you know where there's a light, so you can find the rest of your lights. The other thing I do is, since I have dogs, I keep um, I keep all my leashes hanging right on. I have an antique coat rack because I don't have closets except for two upstairs, and like they're like shoe boxes. But I keep them hanging right at the door. Now, the backyard is fenced. The front porch has a railing, and Mike had built a gate so when the dogs are out on the porch, we don't have to worry about them running off. Um, so I can always just open the door and let them go. I'm not going to have to worry about them running away or getting lost or anything. But the thing you want to remember with animals is, even if you have dogs, like my other two dogs, they might run. Like one got out of the fence, but she didn't go anywhere. She was trying to figure out how to get back in, and she just was like, "Well, I got out, but I don't know how to get back in." But the thing is, with animals, you know, you don't know how they're going to be, um, like, depending on what you're dealing with. Like my one cat, he's like an indoor outdoor, but if it gets really super windy, it scares him, and he'll come running in, to be inside. Um, Plus, I have all kinds of wind chimes, and they're like clanging, and I think that scares him more. But um, the thing is, you don't know how your animals are going to react. Um, depending on what you're dealing with. So it's just best to have some way to get them corralled or keep them corralled. And I have a great big um, carrier. It's actually for a dog, for like a really big dog. And, hopefully if I would have to get out of here, I'd be able to get all my cats and just throw them in that carrier. Uh, because usually they're kind of all in the same spot. In the winter, they all kind of hang around the wood stove over here. Uh, you know, but I mean, all you can do is the best you can do. I mean, obviously, it would kill me if I couldn't get all my cats together if I had to get them out of the house. But you have to do what you have to do. But keep in mind if you would have like down in North Carolina right now. I mean, they are still trying to get people in the home and trying to get the water and the soil is highly contaminated down there, and there are people working on it. And you know, I think we need to not all forget about these people. Um, but they're I mean, you can't plan 100% for anything and everything. But I mean, I know people. My one friend, I just try to tell her like make sure you have at least maybe a couple days, a week worth of food. Have some extra food for your cats. And she has cats, but for if you have dogs and cats or whatever, have some extra food and water on hand. Have some lighting. Um, if you don't have a wood stove, if you depend on electricity, like a lot of people around here have pellet stoves, which is fine, except you need electricity to get those things started. And that's why Mike and I didn't want a pellet stove. We wanted an actual wood stove. Um, but and the same thing goes like in your vehicle. You want to keep stuff in there so you can stay warm. You know, extra jackets, extra blankets, some lighting. Again, flashlights. And one thing you can do in your house is like cord, cordon off a little section. Like take some blankets or sleeping bags or whatever you have, tarps, and maybe just section off a part of your living room or your kitchen, whatever. And if you have a whole family, like you just get in under there, and your body heat at least will start collecting in that little area. And I mean, not that's not going to hold you forever, but just try to think about what are you going to do if there are no emergency services, like if there's no ambulance. Not at this point, like I really recommend calling them, but uh, yeah, I'm just saying, if like there's no services that can get to you, um, you got to think about uh, how you're going to handle that. Or there was a couple in this documentary I watched who lived in a mobile home, and the snow was so heavy it was actually starting to push the walls of their mobile home in, and the snow was coming in and stuff. And so they decided to go out and walk to a neighbor who had believe a brick house because they felt they'd be safer there, and I'm sure they were. But think about, because there was no visibility. So think about like if you're going to have to get out of your house and go to a neighbor's, or go somewhere, a mini mart that might be open, or what have you. Um, think about like you might want to practice how you're going to get there if you can't see anything, like if it's just absolute whiteout conditions. Um, so just think just the basic stuff. Have some food and water on hand. If you have a way to generate some heat, um, do that. If you have a generator, um, and some space heaters, or even just a little space heater, now make sure you got your generator where it's the exhaust is not going to get like packed it up with snow or what have you, and make sure that generator is somewhere safe and obviously outside your house. Um, like here, I could put one out on my front porch because there's not going to be any snow. I mean, unless it's really, really bad. Um, but I have a big solar generator, so I could plug in a space. Well, I wouldn't need to. I've got the wood stove, but I'm just saying. So try to figure out how you're going to keep some heat in your house. If you absolutely can't, figure out where you're going to go and make sure you do like a couple dry runs uh, to, in case so you don't get disoriented, how you're going to get there. Um, Keep a light within reach or on your person. That way you can find your way around to find the things that you need. Um, if you have kids, you might want to consider. I mean, we never did this when I was growing up, and my sister and I shared a room up on the second floor. And if our house had caught on fire, we would have had to jump a pretty good distance. But we never practiced anything in my house. But you might want to practice like some fire drills. Um, if you have pets, you might want to designate like who's gonna be responsible for finding what pet, and where you're gonna keep their leashes, and or a carrier, whatever. Just like I said, I'm not trying to talk down anyone. It's just that there were a lot of things I never thought of, and I'm not like a survivalist. I mean, if they drop a nuke on us, I don't want to stick around for the aftermath. Just drop it right in my house. Just I'm out of here, and never know the difference. But I mean, I don't have like my basement's not full of gas masks and well, I don't even know what all those people stockpile. But as far as just being prepared for anything or anything, everything, especially weather events, because that's the one thing. Like I said, depending on where you live and what you're prone to, you have to think ahead and have some kind of plan, like what you're gonna do. Um, so that's basically it. Just think of what your basic necessities are to get through a few days or a week or maybe even longer. Some food, water, medicine if you need it. Or you might want to start studying some natural medicine. Some lighting, candles, um, that sort of thing. Just basic stuff. But like, don't wait until you're right in the middle of something like that, and then you're like, oh, what do we do now, or where are we going to go, or are you going to try to go out in a blinding snowstorm and find your way around? Um, and like I said, if you have pets, you know, make some plans of how you're going to get your pets together, keeping in mind, especially like with indoor cats, you take them outside, they get really freaked out. So you want to get them into something before you take them outside. Um, so that was just a few things off the top of my head, and I hope that was helpful in some way. And if there's something I forgot, or something you've been through, and something you did, or that might benefit someone else, please leave a comment. And so again, just another one of my public service announcement videos for what it's worth. So thank you, and I hope y'all are having a good day, night, morning, evening, wherever you're at. And I'm ready to go back to bed now because it's like 20 after 7, and I've been up since 3. So anyway, thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.